What's up, BlueTube? It's your boy, the Blu-Ray Bandit. I hit up 3 pawn shops in Ocala, Florida. Let's see what I got. First pawn shop was a Cash America. I paid $10 for 4 titles, $2.50 each. Let's go. This is Erin Brockovich starring Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts is Erin Brockovich. You'd almost think that was the title of the movie, but no, I guess it's just the marketing on the front of the Blu-ray. Have not seen this movie, but I know Julia Roberts, I believe, won an Academy Award. Yes, she won. There it goes. Julia Roberts won an Academy Award for Best Actress in her role as Erin Brockovich. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, Academy Award winner Julia Roberts. I know she was like a champion of, I don't know, something or other. I don't think there's any code in that. This is obviously like an older Blu-ray, no digital code. They don't even advertise it, just Blu-ray and DVD. Adding it to the collection, and I'm looking forward to watching it at some point. Next up, we've got Skyline, the sci-fi movie from, I don't know, maybe 10 or how many years ago was Skyline? I don't remember. This is not a good movie at all. I'm not seeing the date on it. I'm sure it's on there, but it's really tiny text. Yeah, this is not a good sci-fi movie, but it's an interesting one because the 2 directors, or at least one director and his brother, maybe his brother was maybe the visual effects guy. I don't remember, but they worked on Avatar, Iron Man 2, and 300. See, from the visual effects masterminds behind Avatar, Iron Man 2, and 300. And they made this sci-fi movie, and it's like visually interesting for sure. It's actually pretty well done from a visual perspective. It just has a little issues in the things actually happening while the movie's going on department. There's a much better sequel to this called Skyline Beyond that you should definitely check out. Whoever paid $29.99 for this at some point, I'm sorry. I've actually seen this floating around. It's worth about $5 on eBay, but I couldn't find one with slipcover. And this one has a pretty minty slipcover on it. So I'm curious to know if I was to ever sell this, what it would go for, because I have seen a lot of copies of Skyline out there, but none with a slipcover, and certainly none with a minty slipcover on it. But yeah, if you're interested in sci-fi movies, you could definitely check this out, and certainly check out Skyline Beyond. I believe there's a 3rd Skyline movie as well that I have not seen, but it's from the director of the 2nd one, which I enjoyed. So I do want to check out the 3rd one at some point. Haven't yet. And for now, I'm going to add this to my copy of Skyline Beyond. And now I've got 2 out of 3 from the Skyline series. All right. This is a great movie. This is Upgrade. It came out maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I'm forgetting who the director is. Lee Wanell, who was involved in the Saw series? I don't remember. No. Maybe he's a producer on Get Out, Happy Death Day, and The Purge. I don't remember. Upgrade, though, even if you're like not into horror movies, is like horror, but also sci-fi. And it occasionally leads into the horror, but like I have a friend who's not really that into horror movies, and he enjoyed Upgrade. So it was a certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes movie. I believe it still is. And it was great. Not only is it great, but this Blu-ray, for some reason, is worth something. It's about $14 on resale, which doesn't sound like an insane amount of money, but considering that most Blu-rays are relatively valueless, sorry to break that news for you, but generally they don't have much value, even if you paid $20 for them on release date. Most of them are worth $2, maybe $3 at most. This one happens to be worth $14. I'm guessing just because there's not that many out there. I don't necessarily know if it's out of print, but you're just not going to find it in stores. You're only going to find it online with digital code. Yeah, you're just going to only find it in secondhand shops and on Amazon, basically. And you're going to have to pay $14 for it if you want it. I, on the other hand, paid $2.50 and got this nifty little slip cover with it. I'm very excited to add this one to the collection. Another one I'm excited to add to the collection. This is Splice with Adrian Brody, Sarah Polley, and Delphine Chenace, I believe is how you say that. This movie is super cheesy. It's a sci-fi movie where like an alien and a woman or a man, I don't remember, has a baby, and then this is the baby. Something like that. I don't remember the exact plot details of this, but I do remember that it was kind of cheesy and trashy, and I kind of loved it on release. But I haven't seen it since then, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. This one, speaking of valueless Blu-rays, goes for about $2 on eBay. But there's a caveat to that. Oh, there's a digital code. That one's a real old digital code. I doubt that digital code is still valid, but if it is, there it is for you. Go ahead and grab it. Yeah, so this gives you the, whatever this is, the digital copy DVD combo disc and the Blu-ray. Obviously, I'm only interested in the Blu-ray, but you know, it's nice to have the complete package regardless. Yeah, so I was saying this movie runs about $2 on eBay, but with slipcover, which is evidently extremely rare for this movie that is slowly growing a cult following. This movie with slipcover on eBay is gonna run you roughly $40. So not only did I not have it in my collection, nor do I really see it around very much, but I happened to pick up the Blu-ray copy with a minty slipcover. I'm going to add it to my collection for now, but if I ever want to get rid of it, hopefully they'll never reprint it with slipcover because, yeah, it was quite a find. Adding it to the collection. Next pawn shop, this was the American Pawn of Ocala. I paid $10 for 8 titles. So what does that make? Roughly $1.25 each. Here we have the movie Dope, which, as it's titled, is a pretty dope movie. If you've not seen it, it was produced by Forrest Whitaker. Pharrell Williams is the executive producer. It's got a nice young cast in it. It's basically the story of like these kids who find drugs and then decide they're going to sell it instead of turning it into the police. And then, of course, the drug dealers find out that they've found it and that they're selling it. And then they try to track them down. It's kind of a 90s, I don't remember if it's 90s set or if everybody just dresses like they're in the 90s. I don't recall. But it's pretty great. It's funny. It's charming. It's not necessarily a comedy. It's probably more drama with comedic elements, but it's definitely worth a watch if you have not seen it. It's rated R, so it definitely goes some places here and there. It's a good movie. It's super fun. It's a fun adventure movie. I don't know if it's an adventure movie. It's a fun movie. I guess that's the bottom line. If you wanted to pick this up on eBay, it would cost you about $5. But I'm not reselling it. I'm adding it to the collection. Dope is hitting my shelves. Next up, we have Nerdland, evidently featuring Paul Rudd, Patton Oswalt, also the voices of Hannibal Buress, Mike Judge, Kate McCucci, and Ricky Lindholm. All of these people, I know their names, and all of them, I'm excited to hear them voice some characters in this movie that I've never heard of. Nobody wants to be a nobody until they're a somebody. Interesting. This is the unrated version. No clue what the original rated version was rated. And I know literally nothing about this. But the names caught my eye. That worked as far as the marketing. And so I decided to pick it up. Didn't seem like too big a swing at $1.25. And we'll see if it's a quality piece of work. If it is, I'll add it to the collection. And if not, I'll resell it for roughly about $4 on eBay. And here we have a 3-film collection, 3 Blu-rays and 3 digital HD codes. I wonder if the codes are in here. Kickboxer, Warrior, and Haywire. I believe all 3 of these movies I already own, and you know I love my collections. I don't like it when it splits up other collections. Superman, for example. There's a pack with like Superman and Superman 2 and the Superman reboot from the mid-aughts. I don't like that because then on the shelf, you can't go Superman, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4. Was there a 5? I don't remember. And then the other Supermans, like the pack's going to screw up the continuity of the shelves. So the point is, this won't do that because all 3 of these movies are standalone movies anyway. Never mind. Kickboxer had sequels, right? Kickboxer 2, maybe even 3. I don't recall. The point is, I don't really care about the Kickboxer movies. If I did decide I cared about them, then maybe I would get rid of this set because Warrior is pretty cheap to find and easy to find, and same with Haywire. So anyway, Point is, for right now, this 3-pack is much better on my shelf space issues than having 3 individual titles. And that's why I love combo packs. And that's why I grabbed this. Kickboxer R, Warrior PG-13, Haywire R. Let's see if there's some digital codes in here. Ooh. The digital codes were inside, so that's awesome. There you go. You've got the original Kickboxer, which is a movie I enjoy. I think I've seen at least Kickboxer 2. Don't really remember it, but I remember watching Kickboxer on HBO as a kid repeatedly because it was always on. Warrior, also a great movie. And then you've got Haywire, directed by Steven Soderbergh. Anyway, a 3-movie pack. This one runs roughly $10 on eBay, but I'm going to add it to my shelf and resell the individual titles I have from this collection to help pay for this space-saving pack. And lastly, another 3-film collection. This is the Open Water series. Open Water 2, Adrift, and Open Water 3, Cage Dive. This is new and still sealed. I have only seen Open Water 1, which was kind of a phenomenon back in 2004, just because they made it for almost no money. And a lot of people had a hard time watching it in movie theaters because like 95% of the movie is out in the open ocean with these 2 divers who have been stranded in the ocean. And so the camera just kind of like bobs with the waves while they're just kind of floating in the ocean, trying to figure out how to survive. And so some people got very sick watching this movie in the theater. I did not. I have a fairly high tolerance for shaky cam movies because I love found footage movies and stuff like that. If you can watch Blair Witch Project, you can pretty much watch anything, in my opinion. And I love Blair Witch Project. Open Water isn't found footage, but the camera is just they're out in the middle of the ocean, so it moves around a lot. I'm excited to check out the other 2, although I've heard nothing about them, and so they're probably not going to live up to my memory of the original Open Water. But I didn't even have the original in my collection, and now for the space of just the original, I get to add the 2 follow-ups. This collection will run you about $9 on eBay, brand new. And for our final pawn shop, this was Walt's Pawn, which has a great looking receipt for sure. I paid $10.70 for 2 titles, which if I'm willing to pay roughly $5 plus tax for titles, then they're either 1, titles that I never see out and about and I really want, or they're titles that are definitely worth something. So let's check out what I picked up from Walt's Pawn in Ocala, Florida. First up, we've got The American President, starring Michael Douglas and Annette Bening. Martin Sheen and Michael J. Fox is in it as well. This is an American drama about the president that I have seen a long, long time ago, like maybe back in the 90s. 1995. I'm pretty sure I didn't see this in the movie theater because I would have been too young, but I saw it at some point and I want to rewatch it. And so this is a movie that I don't see out and about, at least in Florida. Don't have too many opportunities to pick it up at a pawn shop. And this case is kind of gross. It's very dirty, but most of it's just surface dirt. So I'm going to give it a good cleaning. And if that doesn't work, I'll just replace the case. Good film from my memory, but one that I want to check out again. And if for some reason I don't enjoy it on second watch, then it runs about $7 on eBay, so I'll resell it and at least get my money back, if not a few bucks more. And finally, the big find at Walt's Pawn Shop, and another very dirty case for some reason. I don't remember if this was just a dusty place or what was going on, but this is Once Upon a Time in America, directed by Sergio Leone and starring Robert De Niro. I've flipped this title before, but last time it was the collector's edition, and I believe I bought that one for like a few dollars and then sold it for nearly $100. Not going to get quite the flip out of this one. This is actually a title that I'd like to keep, and I don't have in my collection, but $35 on a Blu-ray that I paid $5 for is just too high a profit margin. There's just so many more titles that I can add to the collection with that $30 that it's going to be a hard challenge for me. That was not a digital code. This is just a little insert. I've never seen them put a little insert where they're like talking about how they restored the film in this extended director's cut. So yeah, no digital code with this one, nor did it promise it. There's the Blu-ray. This one, if you're a fan of the Godfather movies, then you should absolutely check out Once Upon a Time in America. I wonder how long it is. I remember this movie being very long. Yeah, there we go. 251 minutes for this director's cut. That's like what, 4 hours and 10 minutes roughly? That's kind of crazy for a movie that was released in theaters at one point. I think the original cut was maybe 3.5 hours or something like that. So obviously the director added a few on. Again, if you're into gangster movies, especially movies like The Godfather, not only does it have the Robert De Niro DNA in it, but it definitely falls in line with that film. And I believe is kind of like a little bit of a forgotten classic within that genre. Certainly check it out. Beyond that, if you see it on the shelves, pick it up. This standard Blu-ray is worth roughly $35 on eBay. All right, so there's the full haul from Ocala, Florida. We're looking at 14 titles at a cost of $30.70. That comes out to a per title average of $2.19 each. Total estimated value, $135. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. They're called boobs, Ed. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.